Welcome to the Energy Workshop at Community Action for fans. Today we are going to be looking at answering the question, how can we become more energy efficient in our own homes, by looking at 3 areas. First, we'll be looking at no cost, low cost, and then medium to high cost ways that you can answer this question in your own home. First, we will be looking at no cost. With no cost, you will be looking at use of your thermostat, water heater, door drafts, ceiling fans, and also use of fans. Thermostat. When you have your thermostat set in your home, we will be discussing this in the higher cost with programmable, but really remember with thermostats, you yourself can be your own programmable thermostat by keeping it at the ideal temperature for the season. Now in winter, the ideal temperature is going to be 68 degrees. Now you might be thinking, well, that might be a little bit cold, or I may have medical conditions that I can't have it set at that temperature. So do address that with your doctor or anybody else if you have concerns such as that, or address what is the temperature best for you. But your thermostat is going to be working at its most efficiency in your furnace at 68 degrees. So this means it's going to be giving you the most return with your energy bills. So if you set it up higher, it could affect your overall bill. So we're just giving an idea here, and it may not necessarily be the temperature you do set it at, but even just lowering it from your normal thermostat setting could affect your overall bill. Now if you go away for a long period of time, it is recommended that you set it at 55 degrees if you're going to be on vacation. Now the other thing to think about too is before you set it that low, you're going to want to make sure to talk to your landlord if you're renting, or look at your pipes. Because in winter, the number one thing, you do not want your pipes to freeze. Now, it's summer, it's hot, everyone's wondering what is that ideal temperature that we should be keeping our thermostats during the summer. Ideally, you're going to be setting it at 78 degrees. Now that may be too hot for some individuals. And again, with medications, so do consider each individual person as themselves. But ideally, LES does recommend having it set at 78 degrees. Now, for each degree that you set it, it could reduce your cooling costs 3 to 5%. Now, when you leave, they recommend setting it at 80. This is where the programmable thermostat, we'll discuss later, comes into place. But again, being your own programmable thermostat, for example, when I leave to come to community action, I set my thermostat at 80. When I come back, I will go ahead and set it at 78 to make it that ideal temperature, but I'm not heating or cooling in the summer, cooling at temperatures that are not necessarily those ideal temperatures when I'm not home. So those are some things to think about with temperature. Also with your thermostat too, take note of where it's located in the home. If it's by a door, it's going to constantly run, because the temperature it says, it's the temperature right by that thermostat. So if it's by a breezy door, it may never, in the winter, hit that 70 degree or 68 degrees because it's cold in that area. So if that's the case, you'll want to discuss that with your landlord, or if you rent, you can discuss that with weatherization here if you're eligible. And we'll discuss that later. Now, your water heater. The ideal temperature to set it at is 120 degrees. Preventing door and window drafts. Now here in this photo, you can see that there's a slight gap. Now when there's a slight gap in the door, it's letting air escape out and letting hot or cold air come in. So all those heating costs, you're actually causing it to increase your heating or cooling costs. So a simple solution, you can either take a towel or a blanket and just kind of push in to prevent the gap. A way that you could test this is, if it's along the side of the door, is you could put a piece of paper and gently tug out, and if the paper comes out easy, you may have a gap. And then at that point, you may need to do some weather stripping, but we'll discuss that later. Now also changing the direction. If you have a ceiling fan, do take use of it. In the summertime, force air downward to cool, and in the wintertime, you can just by looking up above, there's a little switch, you can change the direction and have the air circulate to have the warm air circulating around the room since hot air rises. And also, today, after you complete this class, you're going to have a fan. And just by using either a ceiling fan or the fan that you received today and turning up the thermostat, you can make it feel like it's 4 degrees. Now, I use a fan, and I have my thermostat set at 78 or 80 during some of the warmer days. And just by using that fan, I can definitely tell a difference in the rooms when I am in a room and I have that fan circulating, and then if I go into a room that's not occupied and there's no fan going, I definitely can tell a difference. But the fan's not using as much energy as trying to cool the whole apartment or house. So those are just some simple things to think about, but a fan really can make you feel cooler, but not use as much energy. Now, some low-cost methods that you can use. You can replace light bulbs with CFL light bulbs. Now, I don't have a photo of the CFL light bulbs, but it's going to be those curly Q light bulbs. Also, you can insulate and seal air leaks and replace furnace filters. Now, insulate and seal air leaks, this is where I was talking about weather stripping. If you do see your door, you may just want to talk to your landlord, or if you own, you can go to a hardware store and they will have some weather stripping, or you can also look at different insulation. Now, other thing that you would want to look at is the pipes, how they also have installation. There's a lot of different installation and also ways that you can seal air leaks. And then also cleaning and replacing your air filter. If you have a window air unit for air conditioning, you will want to clean it and take it off. If you have the instructions manual, I would definitely look at those instructions before going and doing it. Just see exactly the proper way to do that. If you have a landlord, talk to the landlord to see exactly the proper way. Also, if you do not have a window air conditioning unit or just a furnace filter, you want to make sure that you replace it monthly if it's a monthly air conditioning unit change. Or if it says 60 days, it's a 60-day furnace filter, and you want to make sure that you change it appropriately. Medium to high cost. Install a programmable thermostat, install low flow shower heads. Now going back up to the install the programmable thermostat, this is something that I discussed earlier with the use of the thermostat. You can be your own programmable thermostat. The only difference is you're setting a time saying at 4:30, I want you to start cooling because I know I'm going to be home at 5. But you can be your own programmable thermostat. Install low flow shower heads, replace old windows, low and attic or sidewall installation, solar panel installation, and also heat pumps. Now, at Community Action, we do have a service called weatherization. Weatherization improves energy efficiency and permanently reduces energy bills by permanently reducing ongoing expenses. Weatherization helps individuals become more self-sufficient by doing some of those more high-cost improvements, such as installation, replacing windows, furnace efficiency, weather stripping. For more questions, you will want to call Irvin here at Community Action, and his number is 402-471-4515, extension 252. Or you can ask at the front desk for more information on weatherization. There is some income guidelines along with that program, so you'll want to make sure to address that. And that is our energy efficiency fan workshop. Thank you for attending, and you now may take your completed application to the incentive room, and they will give you your fan.